Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today on this screencast. My name is Mr. Vasquez, and today we'll just be going over a couple activities that we'll be doing with primary source documents. As we discussed, analyzing primary sources is very important just because it's great to develop different points of views from those that actually wrote documents back in the day from when they were written or produced, and really comparing a lot of those documents even with a lot of the secondary materials that we have today, such as textbooks, recent articles, anything along the lines of those, and really just to develop a better context. So today we're going to be going over the document or the site itself, DocsTeach, in which we'll be looking at several primary sources itself and activities that go along with it. These are fun activities that will be really engaging and that can also require students to work in groups. So we'll be learning and working together at the same time. So with that said, we'll move on to the first activity. So the first piece we have is assimilation of American Indians. So as we discussed, especially in the Jacksonian era, we noticed how a lot of the Cherokee Indians especially wanted to really assimilate, develop ideals and customs that the typical white man settler had, just because they didn't want to have any trouble with the federal government, which obviously wasn't the case. And we also look at cases with these when they did move. So in this activity, it's going to be a bit of comparing and contrasting as we have right here. So I'll go ahead and scroll down just a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and start this activity just so I could show you all the gist of what's listed in here. So you're going to read the instructions right here. Basically what you're going to do is there's two documents you're going to look at. There's this document right here. You can scroll up and down. You're going to look at the picture, and then you could pull up the next document right here. And so again, feel free to really scroll up and down, make sure to really read everything, work with your partners. And while you're looking at these photos and these documents in general, you want to keep these questions in mind so that you can answer them right after. What do these documents have in common? What differences can you find? What do you think the author created these documents for, or why do you think so? And what is the author's tone in these documents? So it's always helpful to really read these questions before, so that way you can keep those questions in mind when you're trying to look for the answers. So you'll want to make sure to spend a good amount of time on this, working with others. And then finally, when you have a good sense of what all these questions stand for, once you have some solid answers, you can move on to the next step. So right down on here, this is where the activity will be finished. This is where you'll complete everything. So basically right here in the response box, you're going to type a one-sentence caption for each document, really supporting it with what you think these documents stand for, any strengths, weaknesses. You can be really creative in these captions, so definitely pay attention to those. And then finally, you'll want to focus on this following question just to wrap it all up. What do these documents tell us about the relationship between American Indians and the federal government in the early 20th century? So again, really just bringing it all together after that. You're just going to focus on the captions and then a general summary almost of what you believe so. Let's focus on this question right here. What do you think? So then you're just going to type in your response. Once that's done, you're going to put your name in just right here. And then finally, you're going to add my email address, which I gave to you and is also in the class syllabus. And once you're done, you're just going to go and hit send response, okay? Just like that. We're going to go and move on to our next activity, which is a mapping activity, actually. So remember, we discussed the Louisiana Territory, how we purchased that plot of land from France itself. So moving on forth, we're going to be moving into a little bit of a mapping activity. So as we see right here, we have a map of the United States focused specifically on the outline of the Louisiana Territory, what we purchased from France itself. And like we discussed too, you could read this all right here in the intro, President Jefferson at the time sent Meriwether Lewis and William Clark to explore this Western territory. And also, as we discussed in class, it's not like the United States just arrived in any of these territories and the area was theirs. No, that wasn't the case at all. There were people living in these plots of land. And so therefore, in this activity, what you're going to do is you're going to first look at these documents, okay? In order to pull them up, read them, make inferences, you're just going to go ahead and click on the links right here that light up when you touch them. I'm not going to pull them up right now for the sake of time, but again, just pull them on up. And then once you've read these documents, or at least one at a time, you can look at these eyes, these little symbols on the map of the Louisiana Territory right here. So you can pull those up, you can read the hint. So this is what it's asking for. These were the people that settled here, there, and so forth. And what you're going to do is once everything is read, you feel like you're ready to move on, you're actually going to drag these documents to the corresponding sections, any of these 5 right here, from what you believe best matches to represent the people that settled there. Okay? So then once that's all done, and once again, 5 places, 5 documents. So all you're doing is just matching them up based on the corresponding information. And once that's done, just to finish it up, you're just going to hit the when you're done button right here. So now we're thinking of all the documents that were pinned on the map. You're going to create a list of all the different people or groups who are somehow involved in the western lands of North America. So once again, just like everything that you completed in this section right here, focusing on the people and the documents right here, you're basically just going to really be wrapping it up and summarizing about the people that really lived in this region at the time. That's right, when Lewis and Clark were exploring the territory. So anyways, that'll be it right here once again. So once you type in your responses, you create your list. Once again, you're just going to type in your name, preferably your period as well. And then once again, you're going to plug in my email, which I gave you in the syllabus. Once that's done, you'll just go and hit send your response, and voila, it'll be done just like that. So once again, I want to thank you all for joining me in this screencast today. I hope you're all excited to be using the DocsTeach tool. It'll be a great way to analyze primary sources and really just draw upon evidence from pieces that were delivered and produced during the time period of which we study. Thank you all, and I hope you all find this very useful.